Hello everyone, welcome to MBA Karo. Today is day 12 of hot summer series and today we are going to practice questions on odd one out, one of the topics which is tested in the VARC section. Now if you talk about the VARC section, apart from RCs there are 4 topics. One is parajumbles, one is odd one out, one is sentence filler and one is para summary. Odd one out, the question is similar to parajumbles. In parajumbles you are given 4 sentences. In odd one out you are given 5 sentences, of which 4 make order, okay, some sequence, and one is odd. So you need to spot that odd sentence out. Now the 4 sentences make an order. That does not mean that you have to create the order using the remaining 4 sentences. Some students think that they have to make the order also from the remaining sentences. No, if you can figure out the odd sentence, then it is great. And like other sentences, they will talk about some particular theme, and that odd sentence would basically take it to a different tangent. It will be related to the same topic though. It is not that the topic will change. The topic would remain same, but it is just that it talks about a different thing in a slight manner. So let us practice some questions and understand these questions, how to tackle them. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media platforms. So this is the schedule and I'm sure you must be watching each of these videos till now. So today is day 12 and we will be having 18 more such power-packed classes covering the entire syllabus of CAT in a crisp manner and teaching you some good techniques to approach different kind of problems. In case you are preparing for CAT and are looking for a structured preparation in which you get complete guidance for the examination, you get classes, you get practice sheets, you get mocks as full length as well as sectional tests, plus GDPI preparation assistance also. You can enroll in our CAT batch and you can use the code HOT to get 20% off till the end of this month. So as a ritual, please pause the video, try to solve the question and then look at the solution. So here's the first one. So this is the instruction that is given to us, that there are 5 jumbled up sentences. They are related to a topic, right? It is not that the odd sentence will not be related to the topic. It will be related to the topic, but it will talk slightly different from the other 4 sentences. So basically what might happen is, let us say there is a long passage. Okay, this is paragraph 1, this is paragraph 2, right? This is paragraph 3 and so on. So maybe they picked 4 sentences from paragraph 2 and 1 sentence from paragraph 1. Okay, so this is the odd sentence which is picked from this paragraph. So this is the case, like 4 sentences together, one taken from some other paragraph, or maybe 2-3 lines before that or 2-3 lines after that, so that it does not relate to the theme. Okay, so it's a verbal logic question wherein you have to think that what theme are they talking about and which one is odd one out. So let's read this one. So it talks about, like, if you see this, that's a temporal accord baked with the laws of universe to render time travel impossible. Then in a 1992 paper, Stephen Hawking coined the chronology protection journal. So something related to time travel. So the theme is time travel. Many physicists have agreed with that assessment. Okay, so that assessment may relate to this. One would think such worries are limited to high-minded philosophy debates or low-brow movie riffs. Einstein wondered whether time travel, more specifically ramifications of Gödel's universe, could be excluded on physical grounds. Now, if you look at this theme, the theme is time travel, right? So that is the theme. Now, all these sentences are a part of an essay on time travel. Okay, so it talks about some historical discoveries, like it talks about coining of a term. Okay, then it talks about Einstein, that how did he define it. Okay, so basically the theme is time travel. If you look at the sentences, you look at the 4th sentence, it says, one would think such worries are limited to high-minded philosophy debates or low-brow movie riffs. Okay, which worries? Does any of the other sentences talk about worries? No, it may be related to some like maybe this is a passage and they have mentioned about certain worries, and then this further adds to it. So we are not given any worries in this sentence. Okay, so others would link and make a sequence, but fourth one is the odd one out. Okay, so I hope you get the answer right, and at the end comment your score that how many out of these questions were you able to solve correctly. So here's the next one. It's talks about wage hikes are supported by printing money, fueling an inflationary spiral. It was estimated that the Soviet black market economy was the equivalent of more than 10% of the country's official GDP. The former was intended to foster dialogue, while the latter introduced quasi free market policies to government run industries. By some measures, the Soviet economy, so we have figured out that it is talking about some Soviet economy, right? It talks about some black market economy, it talks about printing money, okay, etc. Was the world's second largest in 1990, but shortages of consumer goods were routine. Economic stagnation had hurt the country for years. So it is talking about the country is talked about USSR. Okay, so it talks about the Soviet Union, it talks about its economy. So we need to find out that this is the theme, right? The Soviet economy during, I guess, around 1990s, right? So it says world second largest in 1990. Okay, so it talks about 1990. So what was the condition of the Soviet economy? It says wage hikes were supported by printing money. So yes, this is a problem that wage hikes were there. Okay, and it was estimated that black market economy, so there was high black market economy, so related to it. The former was intended to foster dialogue, while the latter introduced quasi free market policies to government run industries. Fine, it talks about some issues with that. Okay, some economic issues. If you read the words, the former and the latter, former and latter means we are describing A and B, and A refers to the former one and B refers to the latter one. So the former was intended to foster dialogue, while the latter introduced quasi free market policies to government run industries. Now it says that the sentences are arranged in some order, right? Do we have any two things being compared in any of the sentences so that we can use the words former and latter? By some measures, the Soviet economy was the world's second largest. Okay, so this is fine. These are all talk about the problems, economic stagnation and shortages of consumer goods. All talk about the problems. इसमें भी problem describe किए, इसमें भी problem. This is also problem. This is also problem. Okay, now it is saying that intended to foster dialogue, while the latter introduced. So basically, these former letter they talk about some policies. Okay, the policies that the Soviet Union undertook. Now those policies are not mentioned here. So obviously we can figure out that this sentence, the third sentence, is related to some policies that were adopted by the country back then. And there were two policies. First was to foster dialogue, and the second one was to introduce quasi free market policies. Okay, so these policies are nowhere mentioned, and hence this becomes the odd sentence out. Maybe the problems were described, then new policies that were launched must have been given, and this adds to the nature of the policies. So the odd sentence is sentence number 3. Here's the next one, try it. It says, for this reason the phrase loss of faith doesn't always resonate. People often report that they have gained something invaluable. It will take time to figure out and adjust to the new stage of life you are entering. So it is some philosophy here. Whenever we move on from one stage to another, we go through a transitory phase. So basically we are talking about some transition in life, right? It talks about like new stage of life, transitory phase, one stage to another stage. So we are talking about some transitory stage of life. That's what we have figured out through these sentences. During this transitory phase, so if you read through the sentences, you get to know that you are talking about some transitory phase. You are moving on from one stage of life to another. So let's say from childhood to adulthood, okay, or you are moving on from let's say you completed your education, now you are moving on to the workplace. So that's what it talks about, transitory phase. The process of leaving a religion is comparable with other development transitions, such as moving out of a childhood home or starting a new career. So now if you see this talks about religion and leaving a religion. Okay, now if you see this, like 2, 3, 4 talk about moving into different phase. First one says, for this reason the phrase loss of faith doesn't always resonate. People often report that they have gained something invaluable. Okay, first of all, for this reason, okay, which reason? कोई reason दिया है, like if you can relate to it, reason. Okay, so if there is something which talks about loss of faith, okay, so let us see that these three are connected. New stage of life, okay, one stage to another, okay, during this transitory phase. Now if you see, like 2, 3, 4 look connected, right? They talk about some transition phase. We need to find out of 1 or 5. The process of leaving a religion is comparable with other development. So it talks about process of leaving a religion. The author is comparing with other transitions. For example, these are the transitions. When a like a person, child moves out of the home or starts a new career. A person starts a new career. So these giving an example and then adds to the point, right? So when it says that this is the introduction, basically this is the introductory sentence. If you had to make a paragraph, this would be the first sentence. That it talks about that when you leave a religion, you can compare it with transitions in life. Then it talks about these things. It will take time to figure out whether during this transitory phase. Okay, so during this transitory phase might be the next sentence, and then we talk about some more examples that how transition happens in life, what are the feelings, etc. Okay, and you take time to figure out how do you deal with the transition, etc. So that thing is being described. So it compares, the passage compares that when you leave a religion, right, how does it feel when you leave a religion and move on to another. It is same as transitions in life. Now first sentence talks about loss of faith does not always resonate. People often report they have gained something invaluable. Now if you see this, yes, there is loss of faith. You lost your faith in one religion and went to another, but it does not connect here. Like there should be some connecting statement in between which should tell you that how people gain something valuable. So it says that people report that they have gained something invaluable. Now how people have gained, right? There has to be something. For this reason, the loss of faith does not resonate. So there has to be some reason given here. That is why first is the odd one out. So there has to be some reason given after these sentences that how loss of faith is. Now initially it says that like when you leave a religion, there are some transitions and you feel loss, anxiety, other difficult emotions. But later on it comes to say that people gain invaluable things through it. How? That is missing from the paragraph. So this is related to the same topic, but it comes later in the paragraph or is odd one out. So here's the next one. It talks about visualization. You might visualize yourself engaging in an activity as you're also talking yourself through it, but it works best if you can validate how you're feeling and not set up expectation that things will always go perfectly or feel easy. Okay, so we are given certain things about visualization. My grip on the club is the correct position and it's just firm enough but not tense. For example, if you're visualizing a goal swing, sometimes people combine a visualization sequence. Now if you see this thing, the fourth sentence, visualizing, take a visualization sequence, right, to visualize yourself, right? So if you see 3 of the 5 sentences talk about some visualization. Okay, now let us connect these and try to figure out what is the author trying to say in these sentences. Sometimes people combine a visualization sequence with step-by-step narration. Okay, so it talks about like when you visualize things, you build up a story. Now if you read this fourth sentence, it talks about for example. So this sentence is giving a particular example of this theory, that how do you combine visualization with narration. So if you read further, it says if you are visualizing a goal swing, you might narrate as if you picture each step. So यहाँ पे एक सेंटेंस बना रहा है कि दैट पीपल कंबाइन विजुअलाइजेशन विद स्टेप बाय स्टेप नरेशन. स्टेप बाय स्टेप नरेशन मीन्स you talk to yourself step by step that this is the thing I'm going to do, right? You create a picture in your mind and go step by step. So this example elaborates it. For example, if you are visualizing goal swing, you might narrate as you picture each step. I breathe in through my nose and I feel my body relax on the exhale. Okay, so it talks about that. It gives an example that how do you visualize. Now you are left with two sentences, second and third. But it works best if you can validate how you are feeling and it is not set up the expectation that things will always go perfectly or feel easy. My grip on the club is in the correct position and it's just firm enough but not tense. Now if you see, maybe like the third sentences looks odd one out. Now this is a tricky one. See, 1, 4, 5 you can say that they are related to something like visualization and narrating a story. If you look 2 and 3, right, it says but it works best if you can validate how you are feeling and not set up the expectation that things will always go perfectly or feel easy. Now when we say that validating things, is it connected? Does not look to be connected to other sentences. My grip on the club is in the correct position, right? Now it appears that there is some like it's a different things altogether. Like it does not look like a philosophical sentence. But if you see this, if you connect 4 and 3, right, the author is narrating the picture that I breathe through my nose and I feel my body relax on the exhale. So he is having a goal swing in his hand. My grip on the club is in the correct position. So basically 4 and 3 are connected. 3 comes after 4. So 4 के बाद third sentence आएगा, right? But that does not make it odd one out. Now if you see second sentence, it talks about validating of feelings, okay, and setting up expectation, which is somewhat not related to the topic. The other things they talk about, like it introduces a different idea about validating feelings and setting expectations, which is not the main theme of the other sentences. The other sentences talk about visualization and story building, and fourth and third sentences they basically talk about that an example that how visualization and narration go hand in hand, and fourth followed by third. I hope you are liking this session, so please don't forget to like this video. Let's move on to the next question. So this is about some pigeons. It says that in 1786 the English surgeon John Hunter observed that pigeons form a fatty protein rich milk in the lining of the crop in their throat. Given that birds evolved from their form of milk several times and birds inherited many abilities from their dinosaur ancestors. So things are given about birds, right, and pigeons and milk. So if you see the sentences closely, it talks about some studies, okay, that say that like birds have milk, that they feed milk to their offsprings. That's what you can get a gist of it, like if you read these sentences, okay. So like it talks about milk, form of milk, pigeons have milk, okay. Then it talks about avian milk. Avian means related to birds, okay. So it talks about studies, right? These birds are not just regurgitating food but are also forming some milk, okay, to feed their hatchlings. Some birds, now it gives examples, also produce their form of milk. So if you see, the entire passage is about some form of milk found in birds and how do they feed it, right? So it must be, now if you see this, in most cases some form of parental care comes first and then opens the possibility for parents to offer their offspring nutritious substances, okay. Now if you see this rest of the sentences, out of the 5 sentences, 4 talk about milking in birds, right? It talks about how milk is produced in birds, the theories behind it, okay, the studies behind it, and the historical context that this person observed this, and like they evolved, like evolution, how did the birds evolve, how did they get this characteristic of feeding milk. And this also talks about naturalists, they have known this thing that birds have milk, etc. So these are all related to milking in birds, but this talks about some parental care. Okay, and it is a, like, see, you can say that this is odd sentence. It talks about their offspring nutritious substances, and then probably you have this this paragraph which talks about how they feed milk, how birds feed milk to their offsprings. Okay, so initially it must, this sentence separately talks about parental care, so it is separate. Okay, and hence it is the odd one out. It was easy one because all others talking about milk. This is something different. Okay, this again is quite an easy one if you read carefully. I mean, don't go by the fancy words. So it says he describes the sky as big, starry, or of iron or bronze because of its solid fixity. So he refers to, I guess, Homer. Okay, the tints of rough sea range from whitish folios. Some words are given, right? And the simple words xanthos covers the most various shades of yellow. The sea in its calm expanse is said to be pansy-like, wine-like, or purple. Okay, so we see that these are description of different colors. Okay. Now Homer used two adjectives to describe aspects of the color blue, quanios to denote the dark shade of blue merging into black, and glaucos to describe a sort of blue gray. Now he must be referring to Homer here. Okay. Now if you see this, the person has described colors. If you see this, he has described which colors? Blue, right? These are the two shades of blue that he describes. Now if you see, this is sky, sea. Okay, the simple word xanthos covers the most various shades of yellow, right? And if you look at this, it talks about fire and sea in its calm expanse, right? Now if you observe carefully, in all these sentences they are describing different colors, but if you notice carefully, the person has talked about blue, sky is blue, sea is blue, sea is blue, and it says that blue like words, like pans, like maybe these are the words that are wine like or purple. So these are describing blue, but this talks about yellow. A simple word xanthos covers the most various shades of yellow, and yellow in fire, blaze of fire, blonde hair, etc. So rest all talk about blue. Okay, and one sentence talks about yellow. Maybe there must be some link between them, right? So there must be some other person who described them, or maybe the same person, but there has to be some link, and that connects these two. So all other sentences talk about the color blue. Third sentence talks about the color yellow. So here's the next one. It talks about artificial intelligence. The AIs will organize a retirement party and manage your diary. They will develop and execute business strategies whilst designing new drugs to fight cancer, whether it is commercial, religious, cultural, military, democratic, or authoritarian. Every possible motivation you can think of can be dramatically enhanced by having cheaper power at your fingertips. Building an airline or estate, grounding the entire fleet, each becomes more achievable. Power, the ability to accomplish goals, everywhere in the hands of anyone who wants it. They will plan and run hospitals or invasions just as much as they will answer your email. Now if you talk about this passage, the theme is that how are AI going to transform things, right? So it talks about that it will manage your diary, develop and execute business strategy, etc, etc. Okay, so this can do. Now they will plan and run, so they refers to artificial intelligences, AIs hai na? So not just AI, so plural hai, so that is why they have been used. So they will run hospitals, okay, and then answer your email, like invasions, etc. Building an airline, grounding the entire fleet. So 1, 3, 5 to connected hai. They are related to AI, that how AI is going to. So these three appear to be of the same thing. 2 and 4 that talks about commercial, religious, cultural, military, democratic, or authoritarian. Every possible motivation you can think of can be dramatically enhanced by having cheaper power at your fingertips. power, the ability. Now 2 and 4 look to be connected, right? It talks about cheaper power, and 4 says power, the ability to accomplish goals everywhere in the hands of anyone who wants it. Now if you look at among 2 and 4, we agree that 1, 3, 5 are related to the same thing, which is artificial intelligence. And of course first one is the introductory sentence. Like if you find the link, you can find the link also. Parajambal bhi ban sakta, 1 se start hoga, then it talks about 5 and then 3. Now if you look at 2 and 4, right, they talk about some power at your fingertips, power, the ability to accomplish goals everywhere in the hands of anyone who wants it. Now if you look at 2 and 4, which of these can be connected to the theme of AI? Obviously 4 has no connection. 4 looks like a general statement about power. Like if you have power, you can like it is the ability to accomplish goals anywhere in the hands of anyone who wants it. So it defines power, generic definition of what is power. If you look at second sentences, now we have described what AI can do. Then this is a sort of conclusive statement. It says that in commercial, religious, cultural, military, democratic, authoritarian, in all forms you can have the power of AI. So it talks about can be dramatically enhanced by having cheaper power. Cheaper power means that like through AI you can get all these things at a cheaper thing. Okay, so it says that airline becomes more achievable. So basically it is talking that if AI is used, right, it can do a lot of things and it can reduce the effort in each field, hence it has cheaper power, and it has applications in all fields like commercial, religious, cultural, military, democratic, everywhere. So this power refers to power of AI. Okay, so first sentence talks about AI, then what all AI can do, and this second sentence is a sort of conclusive one which talks about, after describing different fields in which AI can enhance, it talks about that in all these fields you can enhance these fields by using the power of AI. Whereas fourth sentence talks about a general definition of power. What is power, right? It is the ability to accomplish goals. So the fourth sentence is the odd one out. So among 2 and 4 you have to choose 4. So this is generally the case, like one of the sentences like you could find 2 to 3 linked to each other, remaining 2 to 3 you have to spot one. Okay, so this is from recent elections. It says that no one has complained about the electronic voting machines or voter verified paper audit trail. Okay, then it says, although the India bloc could not muster the numbers required to form the government, it seems more than happy to pose a strong challenge as the opposition. The election commission deserves some credit for that, especially for organizing an election exercise at a scale the world has seen for the first time in history. Lesson: India's democratic process is reasonably good and foolproof. The India bloc that was alleging massive rigging when exit pollsters were predicting a huge win for NDA did not speak a word about the manipulation of election results. So their theme is election results. Okay, theme election results, but what are components are being talked about here? Now it talks about that they were alleging after the exit poll that they were alleging that there is manipulation in election result, right? But now no one has complained about this. So initially they were alleging that because of the exit polls they were thinking that they are going to lose by a very large margin, and you must have seen that during the election exit polls people were anticipating very high number of seats for NDA, and this turned out to be much less than the actual number. Okay, so that means this has something to do with that manipulation. So it talks about this manipulation that no one has complained. So initially they were complaining, but after the results no one is complaining. Although the India blank could not muster the numbers required to form government, it seems more than happy to pose a strong challenge. Although these two talk about the India bloc, right? But does it make connection to it? Let's see. The election commission deserves some credit for that. What is that credit? Organizing the election in a peaceful manner, right? Successful completion of the elections. Then fourth sentence says that lesson: India's democratic process is a reasonably good and foolproof. So good and foolproof means basically there is like this time there is no one cribbing about the electronic voting machine hacking, etc. So every time you must have heard that the opposition says that EVMs were hacked, right, and there were some issues with the election, right. So this time there is no such issue. So if you look at the main theme, basically it talks about the success of elections in India. Right? This has been successful. Okay. The elections have been successful without much of debate over these EVMs and all. If you look at this sentence, right, the NDA bloc could not muster the numbers required to form government. It seems it is out of theme. It talks about that they did not get they did not form the government, but they are forming an opposition. So this is odd one out. Others talk about successful conduct of elections. Okay, so the second sentence is the odd one out. Rest of all talk about successful conduct of elections in India. I hope you are enjoying this session and the series, so please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends who are preparing for CAT. Let's move on to the next one. So this is something related to science, some stem cells, read about it and answer the So they found that two populations of stem cells have maintained the barrier between lung and outside world in uninfected mice. Basal cells take over small airways and air sacs, while 82 cells remain confined to air sacs. Okay. Then after infection with Sendai virus, however, these two populations separately begin to multiply and spread into air spaces. So it talks about two populations, these two populations, right? Then it talks about the researchers examined lung tissues from mice 12 and 21 days after infection with Sendai virus. So this has to be something to do with the Sendai virus. Okay, so they seem to be connected. Then under normal conditions, IL-33 increases the nuclei of lung stem cells in response to stress or injury and helps the lung repair damaged barriers. Okay, so now these are related to the same topic. Right, so probably taken from some scientific experiment. So these researchers examined lung tissues. You can form parajumble also in this case easily. They did this examination and they found. So they found means the researchers. Then two populations after the infection with this virus, these two populations separately began to multiply and spread into air spaces. Okay, and then it says basal cells take over small airways and air sacs, while 82 cells remain confined to air sacs. So it talks about these, that how do these separately multiply and spread into air spaces. So 4, 1, 3, 2 could be the order. Now they are talking about some experiment conducted on mice, okay, about their lungs, right? So stem cells in their lungs, that is what they have given here, right? Now if you talk about the fifth sentence, it talks about IL-33 increases the nuclei of lung stem cells in response to stress or injury. So it talks about some response to stress or injury, and it talks about lung repair damaged barriers. So the experiment, yes, it must be further done to find out this response to stress or injury, but this is not related to the particular theme. So this theme is about this Sendai virus, okay, and how the experiment was conducted, and there were two types of stem cells and how did they vary differently. Okay, so they how did basal cells take place and 82 cells. So it talks about these two cells and how did they begin to multiply and spread into air spaces, that is given to us. So fifth one is the odd one out. It talks about this response to stress or injury, which is not the theme of other sentences. So this is on TikTok. TikTok's business model has focused on advertising as the principal source of revenue, and by 2023 the app had become irresistible to many marketers. Well, if you are one of the billions or so daily users of TikTok, therein maybe lie the answer. Okay, lie the answer should be to some question. And if you see the fourth sentence, have you ever gotten to the end of the day and wondered where did all the time go? So 4 and 2 seem to be connected. 4 poses a question and 2 gives the answer to it, right? Okay, next, if we see the Wall Street Journal described TikTok as an infinite candy store for the brain and a dopamine machine, where over a lifetime users can spend as much as 2.3 years on the app. Anyone who uses the platform can attest as to just how easy it is to get lost in an endless stream of videos customized to satisfy your specific interest, whether it be silly dances or pranks or life hacks, right? So this is what the theme is. Theme is related to TikTok, fine, but does not mean that if the word TikTok is used, that cannot be the odd one out. Now if you see all this, fourth should be the introductory sentence. Usually what happens is people ask a question to introduce a paragraph and then answer the question. So fourth is the introductory sentence. It questions about where did the time go, and then second gives the answer that it is like if you are a daily user of TikTok, you know the answer. Okay, then it talks about that anyone who uses, so basically like a para jumble banana. So 4, 2, 5, 3 could be the one. Now if you see first one talks about business model, advertising and all. So it talks about the business model, the revenue model of TikTok, whereas all other sentences talk about that how people spend time on TikTok. Okay, how it is impacting the lives of people as they are scrolling through the videos and spending a lot of time, and a study that suggests that people can spend as much as 2.3 years of their life on that app. Okay, so all these talk about how people spend time on TikTok, and this talks about the revenue model of TikTok, which is different from the other theme. So here's the next one. It says that human experiences are inevitably richer than the categories we carve out for them. In the United States, an estimated 9.2% of secondary school students don't wholly identify with the gender they were assigned at birth, yet only 1.8 anonymously answer yes when asked whether they are transgender. Okay, and then it says about finding the right concepts and language to describe their diversity is an essential part of the scientific endeavor. And then we have scientists need terms that are flexible enough to capture nuances of people's experiences, and it helps researchers capture an experience of participants more accurately, enhances analytical clarity, contributes to people feeling included and respected. So if you look at the themes of most of the sentences, they talk about some human experiences, like people's experiences. So basically it talks about that people experiences with respect to their identity, right? What gender do they adopt? That's what, if you read through the lines, right concepts and language to describe their diversity is an essential part of the scientific endeavor. So these all talk about that, the gender diversity and the people experiences associated with it, right? So if you read these sentences, they talk about it. Now if you look at the second one, it talks about in the United States an estimated 9.2% of secondary school students don't wholly identify with the gender they were assigned at birth. Okay, now this seems to be the odd one. Like if you see 1, 4, 5 we can associate. 3 says but finding the right concepts and language to describe their diversity is an essential part of the scientific endeavor. So there it says that their diversity could be people's diversity. Okay, we carve out for them, their. Okay, finding the right concepts and language to describe diversity. So it says that people's experiences it helps researchers. So it is somewhat connected to these experiences, when we talk about that there should be right concepts and language to describe their diversity. So it says that like there are categories we carved out for them, but there should be some right concepts and language to describe their diversity in detail. Now if you look at, these are talking about some human experiences associated with diversity. Second gives some statistics, right? It gives us statistics which looks different from the other sentences. So other sentences talk about like human experiences and how diversity is experienced by different people. So that's what the theme of the other sentences is, whereas the second sentence talks about the statistics associated with it. So you do not connect that particular statistic elsewhere. Here's the next one. It talks about war in Japan. It says, although a period of war and destruction, the late part of warring states period also saw considerable cultural flowering under the influence of Zen Buddhism and the patronage of the important daimyo. Cotton and jute were encouraged and commerce began to flourish along with major highways. Economic growth also occurred despite the widespread warfare because of the feudal lords discovered they had to encourage strong economies. The warring states period saw the breakdown of central authority and an extended period of wars between hundreds of local and independent strongmen. Agriculture was expanded through land reclamation and large irrigation projects, while new mining ventures were undertaken. So it talks about the after effects of war. Okay, all the other like if you see this, so it talks about a during phase wherein wars happened, right, and that how did the country, so it basically talks about the developments, right, cultural flowering. Okay, it saw that cultural flowering, that means development. Cotton and jute were encouraged, so this is also talking about development. Economic growth, okay, there was war but there was still economic growth in the country, right, despite of the war. Agriculture was explained through land reclamation or was expanded. So this talks about a war period in Japan, okay, but if you look at all these things, it talk about cultural or economic, right, or agriculture. So all the sentences talk about growth during war phase, right? So there was some period during which the war happened, and all the sentences talk about growth, like agriculture was expanded, economic growth, cotton and jute were encouraged, cultural flowering. So growth in economic, agriculture and cultural terms. The warring state period saw the breakdown of central authority, okay, and an extended period of wars between hundreds of. So it talks about breakdown of authority, okay, which is not related to the topic. The main other sentences, they talk about growth during the war period, whereas this talks about breakdown of central authority, so which is separate from the rest of them. So the odd sentence out is the fourth one. Okay, so this was today's video on odd one out, and in case you are preparing for CAT and are looking for a structured guidance, you can enroll in our CAT batch. So here are a couple of questions for you to answer in the comments of this video. These are 5 sentences. One of them is odd one out. Odd one out means basically they are related to the same theme, but one of the sentence does not form a link with the other 4. It is related to the same topic but slightly talks about a different tangent. So you have a couple of questions to answer in the comments of this video. So do let me know in the comments of this video your score, how much you scored in the this test and the answers to these questions. If you want to get the PDFs of this class, join my Telegram group wherein you get the PDFs of all these sessions. Okay, so don't forget to comment your score, okay, and the answers to the last questions which I gave at the end of the video. Okay, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel for great content on MBA preparation. So thanks for watching this video. We have more videos coming up. Watch the schedule every day at 12 p.m. we release one video, and you will have 30 videos that will assist you greatly with your CAT preparation, and that will definitely boost your score during the examination. Thanks again for watching the video. Have a great day. Goodbye.